Across the education sector, teachers are seeking greater balance to persist in their role and are leaving the profession at increasing rates due to burnout. We have learned that having insufficient time to plan for lessons and collaborate with peers, as well as having a large number of scholars who are behind grade level, are two major contributors to this burnout. This national challenge that our teachers face for sustainability and balance is directly connected to our scholars' outcomes. Hi, I'm Sonja Grant, Vice President of Network Initiatives for Alliance College Ready Public Schools. Alliance is the largest charter network in Los Angeles, serving 26 schools and nearly 13,000 scholars. In the fall of 2023, two of our middle schools, Alliance College Ready Middle Academy 4 in the South LA Watts neighborhood, and Valera Middle Academy in the Sun Valley area, launched Reimagining the Alliance Educator, an initiative designed to help Alliance get ahead of industry trends by increasing well-used planning time and providing additional support to scholars who are behind grade level. At our Reimagining the Alliance Educator pilot schools, we have more than doubled planning time for our teachers, created new targeted intervention opportunities for scholars, and significantly expanded enrichment opportunities at each school. Now, we hope to pass along what we've learned to give you tools for your own school in hopes of spreading this groundbreaking work. Alliance College Ready Public Schools brings to you Reimagining the Alliance Educator, the podcast. Practical discussions and advice on finding greater balance for teachers and better outcomes for scholars. On today's episode, I talked to Erik Carlstone and Jonathan Tiongco, Principal and Executive Director of Valera Middle Academy. Valera implemented a Reimagining the Alliance Educator schedule that we call our double daily planning block model, where all teachers have 2 hours of consecutive planning time daily. As a part of the pilot, Valera also increased intervention time for scholars who need the most support and expanded their enrichment programming. Today, we'll learn how teachers at Valera are using their 10 hours of weekly planning time, what the impact of this has been, and what's ahead for school year 24-25. I'll also talk to one of Valera's busy teachers about how she's able to do all that she does. A little hint, it's thanks to the Reimagining the Alliance Educator pilot.
I have a partner teacher who's in math and science as well, so I'm able to meet with her and we will review what has occurred with our lessons throughout the week, and we'll talk about what has gone right, what has gone wrong, what we'd like to change, all of that.
My first guest today is actually two guests, Valera Principal Erik Carlstone and Executive Director Jonathan Tiongco. Welcome to the podcast.
I am JT, Jonathan Tiongco, and I'm the proud founding principal and executive director for Alliance MIT, home of Valera Middle Academy and Marine High School, but also, most importantly, the father of a soon-to-be finishing 6th grade and entering 7th grade student at Alliance MIT.
My name is Erik Carlstone. I've been involved in education for about 18 years in different capacities. I started as a high school English teacher. I then became an instructional coach working with the Green Dot Public Schools CMO. I then became an assistant principal with a nearby Huck Schools middle school. And then I started working as an AP here at Alliance Valera Middle Academy. And in the last 2 years, I've been in the role of principal.
Let's start with you, JT. Can you share a little bit about the amount of time that your teachers have this year through the pilot and how that compares with what they've had previously?
Our teachers now have roughly 2 hours a day, and that's every day, 5 days a week, compared to 2 hours a day times the essential times, roughly 5 days a week generally. So 10 hours compared to what they had on average. If they were on a block schedule, it was 2 hours every other day, and then less than an hour on Wednesday, or 1 hour a day, 5 days a week. So essentially doubling the amount of planning time, which just really made people happy and just really excited and just a lot more energetic and refreshed to do their daily work.
And you were really strategic in making sure that those 2 hours are back to back every day for teachers. Can you talk a little bit about why that was important to you and the impact of having consecutive planning time has been?
Yeah, from a parent perspective, I just think when I get 2 hours of uninterrupted time, man, if I get 30 minutes of uninterrupted time as a parent, that is an incredible amount of time. And I feel like I get a lot of work done. So just knowing from a parent perspective and also being a teacher and administrator, we really wanted to prioritize not just giving 2 hours of time, but a block of 2 hours so they can really dig in, focus, whether it's intellectual prep, whether it's looking at data. We really felt like it was important to make sure that those 2 hours were consecutive and uninterrupted. And so that was really a priority for us for the scheduling, but also for collaboration time. We've prioritized having every grade level team have those 2 hours together so we can do more collaboration across departments, but then also across their grade level.
What have you been able to achieve for Valera via the pilot?
The most important part has been increasing the amount of planning, preparation, and collaboration time for our teaching team. Our teachers now have nearly double the amount of time that they had compared to previous years. And so our teachers just look and feel more refreshed. They look and feel like they're able to take on the days working with 11 to 14-year-old kids. They feel really happy about the amount of time that they get with one another, the time that they get to plan their lessons, to be able to pressure check some of their lessons with their colleagues, as well as analyze data, participate in meetings, do some grade level norming, whether it's academics or behavior, in order to be a best place to work. We really do have to take care of the humans that provide the love, the care, the support for our scholars. And so just really providing that time, not only for planning, but also just some decompression time and reflection time. Those are just a few things that have come up from this pilot.
So, Erik, as the principal, what were your assumptions around the planning needs for teachers? And what did you learn throughout the course of this year?
So planning needs of teachers has been something that I've been thinking about for a long time and really reflected on and for my own practice. I started not with real clear planning structures as a teacher personally, and we were given curriculum materials, but they were from different places. We had a textbook, but what were you really supposed to do with that textbook? And for, I would say, like the first 2 years, it was really messy for myself. And I think that that's often teachers' experience if they're not given a really clear and easy to follow curriculum. And while our teachers this year had more planning time, we did encounter some speed bumps or challenges where we had a teacher who had been teaching subjects for 2 to 3 years, and they took our core curriculum and they kind of Frankensteined it with some other materials. Well, they shared that with the newer teachers. Unfortunately, when you're given kind of an amalgam of a curriculum, you're not able to really clearly see some of the instructions that go along with it or how to use it. So it was more difficult for them to implement the curriculum because they were looking at something that another teacher had put together versus an actual like curriculum writer. And so that was actually a change that we made mid-year to stop using this kind of harder to make full sense of curriculum and really just stick with one of the provided curriculums that was much more clear. And that really improved that process. The other thing that's sometimes hard to have a really clear gauge on is how good is this teacher at internalizing the lesson and then being able to facilitate it effectively. And part of the problem is they rarely say, I don't feel like I know how to use this. They don't want to say that because they feel like they're somehow saying I'm not good at my job. So surfacing that is not always the easiest. And then having like a real clear training. We always do real clear trainings about behavior management, classroom management. We have them practice those things. We rarely devote that same attention to the making sense of a lesson written by someone else. But that's something that we're going to be doing more active work with in 24-25.
Let's talk a little bit about what you have planned ahead for school year 24-25 and how that is rooted in some of what you've learned this year.
So 2 big things. Alliance itself as a network of schools is really focused on improving the intellectual preparation of teachers across the network. And we are going to follow suit with that and really try to do the same with one extra kind of wrinkle, which is focusing on the functional language practice for all of our students. Functional language practice Some people will call that English language development standards focused work. We have already put together for our scope and sequence of professional development, walking teachers through how to facilitate a lesson and how to plan that lesson even when you have this material, and then how to provide students, no matter where they're coming from with their language capacities, what are the bricks and mortar vocabulary words and phrases, transitional phrases that they need to be able to use and practice in order to be able to be successful with that lesson of that day. That's really one thing that we didn't do right before, was really walk people through that. We're really going to be walking people through that in the professional development sessions per week, and actually doing the work of having them do that intellectual prep, or what we call IPP, in the professional development sessions that then they can then go and utilize in their lessons.
And what precisely is the gap that that system you're going to be investing in next school year is intended to solve for?
So the first one is, it's not easy to know if you are being successful for some of our most vulnerable learners, whether they have an IEP or whether they are an English language learner. We know that our English language learners definitely need more functional language practice, but we also know that many of our no longer classified students as English learners also need more academic English practice. And so when we look at percent of students who are scoring proficient in reading, we know that there's still a gap where anywhere between 30 and 40% are not yet proficient there for reading. And so we want to integrate that and fill that gap of reading and writing ability with these pieces. The other one is conceptual thinking in math happens in sentences, right? A lot of us think about math as these numbers on a page, and they are that, but there's a thinking that's going on behind the scenes. And if we're not giving them the words and phrases to think those thoughts and practice that thinking, then we're not preparing them to be successful with mathematics. Not that science don't matter. That's actually one of the reasons intellectual prep protocol is important to us, is every single class, it doesn't matter if it's art or PE or robotics or English or science or math, all of them have a built-in set of jargon, language, sentences that help us make sense of those topics. And if we're not giving them opportunities to practice that, we're not really preparing them for that success. So it's something that can go across all subject areas.
How important is the Reimagining the Alliance Educator schedule in enabling you to do that learning and to invest in this integrated ELD with your broader staff? And for our listeners, in case you don't know, ELD stands for English Language Development and includes developing scholars' listening, speaking, reading, and writing skills in English.
I think it's really critical to have the time for two things to happen. One is the individual coaching sessions between an admin and a teacher. One is collaboration between teachers who can support one another. And that doesn't happen when you're constantly feeling scarce with time. I have to run over here. I have to use the bathroom. I have to make these copies. Oh no, the copier's not working. I'm going to go to the high school side. I'm going to go to the high school office and ask if they can help make these copies. Oh, I'm supposed to be meeting with Sally. I can't meet with Sally. I don't have enough time to meet with Sally. And that's what often happens in the life of a teacher, when you could be trying to do the absolute best you can, and the scarcity of time just kind of kills your ability to do that. And with this particular pilot, getting twice that amount of time really creates an opportunity for people at minimally in the same grade level to get that collaboration time. And when you do meet with your coach or your admin evaluator, it doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, if I meet with them, I can't do this and this and this and this and this and this. It can sometimes create more stress, and it may not even be related to not wanting to meet. You're just like, how do I do this and all these other things? So I think it creates that space and time. It reduces the amount of stress, and it really just provides that opportunity that would be so much smaller without the pilot.
Can you talk a little bit about what support structures you have in place for your teachers to support them in using their planning time well, and how that varies based off of where your teachers are developmentally and what support they need?
I think we're always going to have choice time and non-choice time. Choice time being the teachers deciding how they're utilizing that time in preparation for the lesson. Non-choice time meaning structures that are put within their schedule. So both of those things are always going to exist. The non-choice times are going to be your debrief, meeting with an administrator, your meeting with your content area peers at least once a week to look at student work and do data analysis. So those are support structures that have meeting outcomes, action steps for teachers to take. If in the process of doing those, the coach observes, okay, this teacher's really struggling with this particular technique or with this particular element of planning, there is more time that can be utilized with that person or with a mentor. And I think what we discovered this year is sometimes you think, oh, if a veteran teacher has created some materials, that'll be really great. And we found that sometimes that's not true because the context isn't there wherein a professionally published, curated curriculum, there's not that gap in understanding because it was made to be read by someone else. The other one is when you have teachers collaborate, a veteran and a new teacher, sometimes that veteran needs help clearly communicating what they do that's effective. And then the last one is if you're going to be doing this and you're really putting that emphasis on how to use planning time, you have to have professional development that clearly delineates that. And I think that that's another place where we made a certain assumptions about how teachers would use their time because of the way that many of our teachers had previously used their time. But with newer teachers not having that, and then all of a sudden having this greater amount, it wasn't fully taken advantage of the way that it could have been.
We'll be back with Erik and JT in just a moment. This is Reimagining the Alliance Educator, the podcast.
All right, scholars, settle down, settle down. It's time for a pop quiz. True or false? Alliance College Ready Public Schools was founded in 2004 on the belief that all children, regardless of their income, ability, or background, are capable of learning and achieving at high levels. True! That's right. Alliance schools are community-driven and provide neighborhood families with the highest quality public education. Good job. Okay, question number 2. True or false? Alliance schools are expensive to attend. False! Correct. Alliance schools are open and always free to scholars. No entrance exams and no tuition. Next, question number 3. Alliance scholars have a graduation and college acceptance rate of over 95%. True! Right again. With small classes, our scholars get targeted attention and graduate from college at 3.5 times the national average compared to those from similar backgrounds. Nice job, everyone. A+. Oh, and for tonight's homework, tell your friends about Alliance College Ready Public Schools and help spread the word. Class dismissed. Wherever you live in Los Angeles, we've got you covered with 26 nationally ranked middle and high schools. Visit laalliance.org today and enroll your child in one of the best schools in the country.
Welcome back to Reimagining the Alliance Educator, the podcast. I'm Sonja Grant, and I'm here at Valera Middle Academy, one of our pilot schools from the school year 23-24. I'm talking to the founding principal and executive director, Jonathan Tiongco, JT, and the current principal, Erik Carlstone. So Erik, are there shifts that you're planning on making to the planning structures or systems of support that you have in place for teachers next school year?
I mean, the biggest one is what we plan to do with our professional development time. And when the teachers are in the Wednesday professional development and they're doing the intellectual prep, we're going to be able to provide real-time feedback on the quality. And then that's also going to be letting us know who's doing great with this and who's struggling. You know, we've got maybe 20 weeks in the first semester. We're thinking at least 12 of those weeks are going to be focused on how to do intellectual prep and the quality of it. And if some teachers need extra assistance, we'll be able to continue that with them. But for most, that should probably be sufficient to clarify expectations and ensure that it's at a level that's going to have positive impacts on students in the classroom.
And JT, What have you seen in your teaching and your scholar population as a result of this program?
I just see a lot more refreshed and excited teachers. I see kids that are engaged in really great projects and classes. My daughter got to benefit from being in the health class. She got to benefit from being in the art class. We had our mechatronics and art symposium, and our students are so proud and excited to present their work. So I've really gotten to see just more joy, more excitement, more enthusiasm and engagement at our school from both the students, the staff, as well as family levels. So yeah, this was awesome for us.
We'll be speaking to Erik and JT later on in the season. Next, I'll talk to one of the teachers at Valera who is feeling a better sense of sustainability thanks to the work-life balance that the Reimagining the Alliance Educator pilot is providing. But first, let's hear from some Valera scholars.
Hi, I'm Devin, and I'm an 8th grader at Alliance.
Hi, I'm Samara, and I'm a 7th grader at Alliance.
I'm curious, how have your classes felt this year? Have you noticed any difference in your teachers, the way they talk, the energy that they brought to the classroom?
I feel like my teachers were more confident with themselves, because like last year, some teachers were just weren't that sure of themselves.
And how has that changed your experience as a scholar?
It made me more responsible and more self-disciplined.
You were in tutoring. What did you receive tutoring for?
For math.
And how was your experience in tutoring?
They helped me more with math than my other teachers could.
And how did that make you feel when you were in class?
It made me feel confident about myself that I could do better at math.
How do you feel going into high school?
I'm nervous.
I think you're going to do great. Just keep working as hard as you are. And know that you've got a lot of people here who are rooting for you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Reimagining the Alliance Educator, the podcast. My next guest is one of the teachers at Valera Academy. Welcome to the show.
My name is Cynthia Cassandra. I have been at Alliance, MIT, then became a middle school, Valera Middle Academy. I've been here about 8 years. I've always been math and integrated science, but I also have been an enrichment teacher. Right now, I am the No Place for Hate student coordinator, and I also am the program lead for our Encore tutoring after school.
You've definitely got your hands in many things that are driving incredible impact for your scholars. I'm curious about how you felt going into the Reimagining the Alliance Educator year and how you feel now.
Going into it, I had no idea what to actually expect, because it's only through experiential knowledge that I can get some insight and I can reflect on what has actually happened. I've had a great time this year, quite honestly, getting closer to my teammates, being able to have more time, because as an educator, there's an issue with work balance. Definitely, and I just articulated my numerous positions here that I choose to have. And it really helped me to become more efficient, to be able to reflect on my teaching, but not only my teaching, but my life in general in serving at Alliance.
And can you give us a sense of what your work felt like before the Reimagining the Alliance Educator work and how that has shifted this year?
Quite honestly, a lot more stressed, because I was taking on a lot, not just at school, but also taking it home. I live pretty far away. And after school, I would even have more work to do. because I hadn't finished everything. But now that we have the new program, it's great because I'm able to do it in school, in my classroom, or if I need to collaborate with someone, they're right there for me. And so that has made it a lot easier for me.
I'm curious to hear a little bit more about the collaboration piece. What more are you able to do in terms of collaborating with your peers this school year, and what has the impact of that been?
I can align a lot better with the curriculum. I have a partner teacher who's in math and science as well, so I'm able to meet with her and we will review what has occurred with our lessons throughout the week, and we'll talk about what has gone right, what has gone wrong, what we'd like to change, all of that to better facilitate our students next semester or next week, quite honestly. And that really is very helpful. Then we share students, of course, with our cohorts. And so our cohort partners can talk about anything that has happened with some of the students and whether we have to talk to the students or whether we have to have intervention from other stakeholders who are at the school to help them and support them.
Has this work shifted how you think about sustainability of staying in the teaching position over the longer term?
I'm so happy you said that because I had articulated to my admin that what I discovered is that there's a high attrition rate for educators, quite honestly. Whether you've been in the profession for 2 years or sometimes even 15, because after COVID, a lot of the teachers left. I think that with a program like this and the support that you can get from your school, from your teammates, I think that there will be a high, let's just say, retainability and sustainability for staying in the profession. And so lessening that attrition rate for those students, I should say teachers who have come out of those programs, who spent a lot of money, a lot of time. They don't get burnt out so easily. And they can navigate this profession a lot easier because they have some support from their admin and from their teammates.
That's so powerful. It sounds like you've already started to see some of those shifts.
Yes, I have.
At your own school.
I've seen it of course, for other people. I also am a coach as well, an induction coach. And I've seen that for the candidate. And so now she's going to become a professionally cleared teacher. I'm so excited about that. But I've seen it for myself as well. I have been teaching for quite a few years. And I have been in and out of the profession, quite honestly. I should say not profession so much, in and out of education. I started at a small public school and I started elementary. Then I went to college and university as an adjunct, and I came back here because I like teaching. I like being in the classroom with kids, and I like seeing them grow and develop. And so sustainability is there, but I'm also thinking about my future as well. They think about their future and I have to think about mine because I have to be a role model, right? And that's important for me.
Hi, I'm Francesca and I'm a 6th grader at Alliance. My overall experience at this school is very nice because in the beginning I felt like I was welcomed with open arms, and I really enjoy my classes and the people I hang out with.
What's it been like transitioning into middle school?
I feel like going here at Alliance, it made it very easy for me to settle in.
What made it so easy?
The teachers were very nice. Everybody felt so supportive.
On our next episode, we'll go back to Middle Academy 4 to talk about how teachers don't just need more planning time, but it's also important that they have strong planning, observation, feedback, and coaching systems in place as well.
We have assistant principals and instructional leads who will spend time in classrooms, then debrief with teachers and give them action steps to help continue to build their instructional practice. In addition, all teachers participate in department meetings weekly, where we do an array of things, from analyzing student work to reviewing lessons together to practicing lessons to having conversations about how we align from 6th to 8th grade. And then, of course, all teachers participate in weekly professional development.
That's next time on Reimagining the Alliance Educator, the podcast. If you're interested in learning more about Alliance College Ready Public Schools, in becoming an educator or enrolling your child, visit laalliance.org. Or if you're already a part of the Alliance community and are interested in the Reimagining the Alliance Educator program, reach out to your school leader. Let them know you think this is a good idea and ask for more information on how your school can join. And don't forget to rate the show. It really helps spread the word, which will hopefully inspire more schools to try something new. Reimagining the Alliance Educator, the podcast, is produced by the Alliance College Ready Public Schools Home Office team, with producer and writer Monique Madrid, Jass Stewart, and myself, Sonja Grant. Sound and editing was done by Jacob Tummino and Travis Thompson. Alliance's CEO is Pablo Villavicencio. Special thanks to Valera's principal Erik Carlstone, Executive Director Jonathan Tiongco, Teacher Cynthia Cassandra, and scholars Devin, Francesca, and Samara.
Brought to you by Alliance College Ready Public Schools.